You know I'm a hustler, hustler. You know I'm a hustler, hustler.
Hey, it's boy Lauren back again with another episode of Get Biz, Do Biz, and Get Pay. Today I have a very special guest that is an expert in client acquisition. He's has spent over 2 decades in the sales game. He is currently a sales executive, currently a sales coach, and a life coach. And he resides in Arizona. Welcome to the show, Joe Graham.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm super excited to be here and to bring value to your audience.
So let's roll the clock back, man. Over 20 years ago. How you get into sales?
Fell into it. So here's the thing. Grew up in the Midwest, and if you know anything about the Midwest, you go work for a company, you're supposed to be there for 50 years, yada yada. Company laid me off, and the only job I could get was sales. And the first job I did was roofing, windows, and siding for Home Depot. So I had a family. I had like it wasn't like I'm thinking I want to go into sales. It was like it just happened. But once I got into it, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with helping people, solve problems, and they paid me way better if I solved their problems than if I just went in and, punched a time card. And then I just kept growing in it and went from doing like door-to-door sales with roofing, windows, and siding to heavy equipment sales to investment sales to B2B closing for Fortune 50 companies. So I've run the gambit. I've done all of the different things. So anywhere you want to go, we can talk. But I like sales because it just helps people, and then I can do what I want to do, which is travel.
Man, that's so amazing, man. It's funny when you say sales is about helping people and it's about providing a solution to whoever it is that your ideal clientele and whoever it is, whatever community you're serving. Because the general consensus around the sales game is about convincing people to buy your product, or convincing the people to buy your company product, right? But that's what I think when I first get into sales. I thought that I have to say all these things to try to get you to buy from me, but it's really not like that. So I think that's the biggest myth of sales that we can debunk today. And the deeper I
Mhm.
get into it, the more I realize that sales is just about first helping people, and second, when they are allow you to help them, providing the right solution to their situation. Can you talk more about that concept? Or when did you realize that sales is about helping people and providing the solution?
Sure. Again, during roofing, windows, and siding, at first I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, actually, my first sales call, I'm doing a flip chart for gutters. First and foremost, don't ever do a flip chart for gutters. 20 years ago, I was super green, so I didn't know any better. And the guy just looks at me and goes, I like Home Depot. I just want gutters. I need the price. You can finish this, or you can just give me the price. I'm like, oh, crap. He doesn't care about what I'm saying. He just wants his solution. And I just started thinking, if I was going to be sold, do I want to hear a pitch? Like you said, do I want to be convinced, or I just want to see if this is going to work for me? And I stopped pitching and I started just talking to the person and be like, well, what are you looking for? How can I help you? What is it that you're trying to do? And then giving them a solution. All of a sudden, the walls came down, the guards came down, the stuff was a lot easier, and I didn't have to do the whole gimmicks. And I know we've all heard it. We've all heard like the Grant Cardones of the world, the Jordan Belforts, pressure them in, or the straight line system, or you say it this way or that way. In reality, you can get some sales, but you don't get sales that stick. I want sales that stick. I don't want chargebacks. I don't want a customer upset because I didn't give them what they needed because I sold what I wanted instead of what they needed. So, first rule of sales, if you really want to make a lot of money, when I say a lot of money, I mean like multi six figures, even millions, if you really do this right, listen to your customers, solve their problem, and make them happy. Guess what? They pay you. There's no issues, and you keep your money.
Right. Man, that's just a great concept, and it's refreshing to see somebody that's been in the game long enough to describe it so perfectly. Sales is about helping people for providing the solution, and then follow through with your solution to make sure your client have success. And that to me that created a repeatable cycle when your client bring you more client, and you can do the same, the same, and the same. And most people don't realize it, but your referral and repeat, the sale, it's not even a sales anymore. It's like talking to client. It's like talking to friends,
Mhm.
because they already know what kind of client experience that you are going to provide them. They already know that you can provide a solution for them. They can already know that you can create an amazing experience, and they already know that you're not going to forget about them, because you know what I love the most in business? Referrals and repeats. Is I go out there, I'm I do construction sales. So, Dax, so basically the same thing you did when you first started the game, are way different now. But the same concepts still apply. So, at the earlier my stage of career, like I had to almost like put myself on the line to get the first couple deals. But now it's like the brand already there. I get referrals, people talk about me. So now the sales easier. Now I can hire a sales guy to go sell under my brand. So
Mhm.
that's really great that you say that.
I think all sales guys should treat it like it's their business because it's entrepreneur life. You maybe don't have the overhead of the business, but you got to kill to eat. You have to sell stuff to make the real money because, like, the draws and the little commissions or the little salaries that they give you don't make it. Like, if you're in sales, you want to make real big boy money, or I call it grown up money. Over six figures, I call it grown up money. So I think it's just figuring out what you can do, and then in the beginning, because you're talking about people in the beginning, do the right hustle. When I mean that by that is if you do door to door, hit all your doors every day. Because if you hit all your doors every day and just ask to help, you'll win. Another funny story, because I was thinking about you just mentioned this when I was doing door to door for Home Depot. I could do it in the store sometimes, and sometimes I would go and knock on doors. And I was doing it up in Michigan where actually people would buy roofs for a long time and keep them because they didn't get the help. I had done 120 doors. And anyone that's listening to this that's done door to door knows that's a beating. Had got nothing. Started halfway up this hill to this house, and I literally had stopped. And the woman goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Hey," like half-halfly, "I'm selling roofs. You need one?" She goes, "I do. Come here." On the 121st door, I literally walked up and she goes, "You weren't going to come up, were you?" I was like, and I was honest because I found honesty is the best part. No, ma'am, I've hit 120 doors. I was tired. I was about to go back to my car, and I had made it halfway up your hill, and you engaged. And she goes, "I was going to go to Home Depot and look at it, but since you're here, can you do this?" Measured it out. It was like an $8,000 roof, and I made $800. At that time, it was 10% in like a 20-minute conversation, gave me the check and everything. But if I wouldn't have hit the other 120 doors, I would have never gotten to that 121st one that got me the deal. So I think there's you have to have that grit and that determination of just doing one more, like Ed Milet will say. But I think so many times we think it's like on TV, or you hear Grant, or you hear someone say, "Oh, just make one call and you say this right and you just get it." And then when you don't, you get frustrated and upset. And in reality, you have to understand it's the reps you're putting in, it's the connections that you're making, and then sometimes these people will come back to you.
Man, that's a consistency is the grit and the the determination to put in the reps. I think that's really important when you're in sales, because you can take sales training, you can have a sales coach, but if you don't execute it, right,
Mhm.
then so I think the best two way to get into sales is either cold calling or door to door, because both
Yep.
are uh extremely excruciating pain. Every single dial, every single door knock, you have to reset right away. Hey,
Yep.
let's let's forget about the last no. Let's just, another dial. If I make 120 dial today, I can book how many trips for them to go into casino. That's how I get started in the world of sales.
Yeah.
I got to book a business, run a funnel. Here's the people to call to get them to an event. And and the amount that the people that come in, because people come in, they spend money. is how much I get paid. I know they pay me a little bit salary of I think it was 45,000 back in the day. And first year come out right away, I'm like, shit, nobody is making bonus. Why? Because they calling the wrong people. They calling the people that already in their book of business. They're not looking for new pipeline. Right. So
Mhm.
since you are experienced in B2B, since you are experienced in door to door, so I think, this concept is go a little bit above a sales, more of like a marketing thing. But talk to me about how beneficial for a sales rep or any 1099 sale or any salesperson in general to build up their pipeline.
It's key. It's how you win. So I've done door to door. I've done B2B. I've done investment sales where I was talking to the top 5% in the world. So they had to be accredited investors, which means at that time they had to either make over 250,000 a year for 2 years in a row or have a net worth of $1 million or more. But then I was selling oil and gas investments, which is probably about a quarter of the top 5% that would even listen to you on that, and maybe another quarter of them that would actually invest. So we were making 200 to 300 calls a day. Like you've heard Boiler Room, like that crazy thing. It'd be like, hey, this is sugar, da, 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 and you just kept popping, popping, popping. But here's the crazy thing. I got this doctor, right? And I got him to buy in. And he invested 50,000. Then I had called him a lot, finally got him on. He's an ER doctor. And he invested 50,000. It took me an hour to get him closed, right? After I finally got him on the phone. He goes, hey, send me the stuff for the next one, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. The only time he could talk to me was the day after Thanksgiving. And I'm with my family, like, okay, how bad do you want to do something, right? Here's the crazy thing. I tell my wife, hey, this is probably going to take me about an hour because last time when I went over the presentation thing with him, for the oil wells, it took time. He wanted some questions. I pick up the phone. He says, happy Thanksgiving. Give me 2.5 points. That's $250,000 investment in about a 2 minute conversation. I made $25,000 in 2 minutes, but the only reason I made that was because I had been dialing 100 to 200 calls to 300 calls sometimes a day for weeks, just trying to build that up. Now you don't have to do that for every type of sale. That sale is very distinct. You just had to pound the phone. That's kind of what it is. In the B2B world that I am now, it's all about relationship building. I'm making maybe 30 to 50 calls a day, doing emails, going to dinners, doing a different setup. But when you're first young and hungry and they tell you, hey, as many dollars as you want, you can make as much money as you want, make as much money as you can. That's the problem. Most people get in their head and think sales is about them. Sales is not. Sales is just about helping people. More people you touch, the bigger your pipeline, the more money you make. The problem is that we don't like getting told no. But think of it this way. How many times have you asked a girl out and she said no? Did you stop asking girls out? No, you just asked a different one. A no now is not a no forever. A no now just means you didn't get the hook yet, or maybe it's not the time for them, or maybe it's not the right service. And I'll ask people, I'm like, okay, cool. When you said no, I get that. Is it just right now it's not the right time, or you just completely don't want to do this? And sometimes they'll tell you they don't want to do it. Cool, leave them. But they're like, yeah, no, right now I just don't have the budget, or I had my dog died, or you caught them at the wrong time. People aren't thinking about you. When you pitch them something, you're trying to get them to connect with what it is that you're selling. Unless it's a warm lead that they reached out, that's a different game. But if you're reaching out saying, hey, are you interested in getting new solar panels? Are you interested in getting a roof? Do you need cell phones? Do you need a car? Whatever. If you're cold calling them, you have to have a hook. So you need to make it 100% about them. Don't pitch your product. Don't pitch your service. Find out if they have a pain point you can solve.
Man, that's cold calling and door knocking. That's that's a tough gig, man. Like in sales, those are the toughest gig, when you don't know who you're calling, when you haven't developed a relationship with anybody, or when you're just out there in the wild knocking doors. And I've been door knock all the time, and now I have a little bit more appreciation to these guys. So I actually have a conversation with each and every single one of them, just because I know how hard it is, how defeated it is, to go 2 to 3 neighborhood trying to sell security system. That's a new fad nowadays. Or bug,
Mhm.
what is it? Bug? bug
Yeah,
spray around the house. I ended up
yeah,
buying all of them. Just like, all right, man, how much is it?
uh,
A few $100, man. Whatever, man. You
yeah. I
know,
got you. I
co-
got you.
congratulations, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but but that's the one thing I didn't do yet is door to door. I did cold calling for a little
Mhm,
bit until I figure out the game, right? And the game is the more money you have, the more people you have in your pipeline, the more people is going to refer you, buy from
mhm,
you. Maybe it's not right now. So most of the time, business owner and salespeople, small business owner, not big business, alike, they look at sales as just a one-time transaction, right? So
mhm,
so from what you told me, I think you would agree with me on this point is even if you lose a little bit of money on that first sales and you still give them a good client experience, they're gonna bring you to three, four more, five,
mhm.
however, however long you stay in business. Those people, if they you gave them a good client experience, there's gonna be ancillary sales that come after that. So the better you can treat your people, I think,
Mhm,
is the better your business health and basically your financial health is gonna be in the future.
mhm. Yeah, if I had to do door-to-door sales now, we'll just go back there for a little bit. I I would do the customer experience even better because when you're young and green, you're just hitting as many doors as you can. I literally would get a sell in an area, show up when they're roofing, go to every door if it was a roofing thing, because that's what I used to sell. Go to every door and say, "Hey, just wanted to let you know my guys are roofing your neighbor's house. If you have any issues, yada yada. By the way, how old is your roof? Guess what? I came over to say, hey, I wanted to let you know we're going to be here. Relationship. This is why we're in the area. But then I had the opportunity to ask them, hey, can I help you? Because if your neighbor's roof's getting fixed, you might think, oh crap, my roof's probably as old as my neighbor's because you're in the same neighborhood. And then developing the relationships is key because if you give them a great customer experience, whether it's over the phone, in person, virtual, whatever, most salespeople don't ask for referrals. That's gold mine. Like they don't go back and say, hey, you had a great experience. Do you know anyone else that might benefit from this? And that's just like the golden ticket because now you're in a warm market. Because if someone's introducing you, like you said, you're not having to cold call. What if you have 10 people that you cold call and you got a hold of, and then they each gave you 10? Now you have over 100 people and you only had to cold call 10, or you only had to sell 10. Go back to the people you sold. If you're listening to this right now, you're in B2B, door knocking, whatever, go back to people you sold and say, hey, if they had a good experience. If they had a bad experience, probably shouldn't do that. If they have a good experience, go back and say, hey, just wanted to make sure everything was still going good, build that relationship, and then be like, do you know of anyone else that could use the services I gave you? If you are spot on and doing what you need to do, you just made yourself another 50 to $100,000 there just by going back and talking to them.
Man, that's refreshing to hear because I see this all the time, right? In my industry, I'm in like 15 to 20 industry specific group, CRM group, whatever. Hey, you guys have any idea of how to get more leads? Everything seems to be dry up with Google ads not hitting as well. The SEO
Mhm.
too expensive. You know, like phone doesn't ring as much as it used to.
Yeah,
And
you got to pick up the phone and call.
and then what I would the first advice I would give those people is like, hey, how many open leads you got? Well, why don't you try to close door open leads first?
Mhm.
How many ex client you have? Why don't you call them all up and ask if anybody else can benefit from having a conversation with you? And would you care to give an introduction? Uh, Go back to your past job. Go knock the whole neighborhood around there. Say that you did Mary Ann job right here. And if you haven't done any of that, don't think about putting more money in somewhere else because I can guarantee you, you give me the anybody book of business, I could probably squeeze a few deals out. You know, it's just because people don't want to do that because it takes time. It's not easy. It's it's defeating. Hearing people that you know don't want to. they don't want to refer you to anybody because you did a shitty job. So
Yeah.
they don't do the free stuff right. And then when you do the if you don't do the free stuff right, when you do the pay stuff, oh now you get into the real money. And
Mhm.
so that's like for me, when I'm spending on ad, I gotta be make sure that I'm on my tip top. I gotta make sure I convert that lead. But now you don't have lead, that means you don't have money and you don't do the free stuff, then I my advice is to not go do the pay stuff unless you master these free stuff.
Well, yeah, the problem is that people want it to be sexy, fun, and entertaining, when in reality, success is boring. It's doing the right process over and over with the known results. If you knock on enough doors, you're going to get a sale. If you make enough calls, you're going to get a sale. If you reach out to the people that you sold and did a good job to, you're going to get a sale because they're going to give you a referral. But that's not, oh, I can put this one ad up and it's going to give me 1,000 new leads. If
Yeah,
you build it, they will come as bullshit. That is not true. You have to build it, brand it, grow it, tell everyone about it, and then ask them to come. Girls
right.
don't go on a date with you until you ask. Normally, I'm sure there's going to be someone listening that's an exception, and maybe they ask the guy. I don't care. Not going down that road. I'm just saying, in general, you're not going to get to go out with someone unless you ask. You're not going to get a selfie unless you ask. You're not going to build a relationship. You said, "Hey, let's go get coffee. Hey, do you want to go to the baseball game? Hey, do you want to go do this thing?" You have to build that relationship and connect with your clients, and then you can make so much more money. So I know I know salespeople do this. Oh, it's so hard, it's so tough. You chose this, so shut up, put the work in, and make the money. You want to make real money? Be a man, be a woman, grow up, and do the work that needs to be done. If you want to just have a boring regular job, go work for $50,000 a year for someone. Come home and chill. That's fine, but don't say you want to be a salesperson, because a salesperson is going to go and take action.
Man, you talk about the disparity in the sales game. It's There's like no middle ground. Either either you know how to make money or you just never make it. Like or it's not for you because if you get sales, you make six figure. If you don't get
Mhm,
sales, what you get is maybe if you're in the market that you get warm leads all the time, people feel bad for you. Every once in a while, you get
mhm.
like maybe one third or one fourth of the top closer.
Yeah.
So from my experience, I see salespeople that never crack 30,000 a year and have to quit after 7 months.
Yeah.
Like how like when they go in construction sale, they door knock. They didn't even last 3 months.
Mhm.
That is not on even on their resume. They got a few sales, but didn't pan out as well. Then
Yeah.
they move on to the next, move on to the next.
Yeah.
But
Draw
had
dogs.
had they stay here for another month,
Mhm,
or that because it takes 90 days to kind of build your pipeline, kind of let the
mhm,
need to mature a little bit. All that thing that you have built, all that skill that you have built, and all that book of business that you have built gone out the window because you didn't stick with it long enough, or you didn't have the heart to try one more time, right?
mhm,
So I always I highly recommend any salespeople that man, you give me 6 months, the
mhm,
minimum 6 months, because the first 3 months is all gonna be product training. You're gonna
mhm,
learn how to talk like an expert, so you can establish authority, but you must train for this. And the next 3 months going to be training on out in the real world. And the real money is made when you're efficient. Is going to month 7 to month 12, right?
mhm.
So what do you think about that timeline?
100%. The work you do now shows up 3, 6, 9 months from now. If you're in B2C, you probably can do it within 6 months. If you're in B2B, it's 6 to 9 months because you're building relationships. It's a longer sales cycle. Know what you're doing. So, like in that first 3 months in the B2B world, you're creating relationships, you're starting to get deals going. It takes that work shows up in month 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then if you keep building your pipeline, it grows. Now, B2C, because you're dealing right directly with the consumer, 1 to 2 months it starts, and then month 3 should start getting some sales. Month 4 you should be efficient. By month 5 or 6, if you're selling just one or two products to consumer, you should be able to be at least at quota, maybe a little bit above. Now you have some killers that will come in and just destroy it. Then you have some people, like you said, that are draw dogs. But a lot of those that don't make it aren't putting the work in. They're not trying. They're hitting 3 doors and marking that they hit 25. There's the ones that you see when you're out on a walk with your family, sitting on the bench with their little badge on, and you know they haven't talked to anyone. They're not the ones coming up to doors and doing things. They're not the ones making the phone calls with the logs, because you look at their logs and they did 35 calls and are tired, and the hungry guy's done 150 calls in that same time frame and is trying to do more. It's all about effort. You actually, sales is a great equalizer. The effort you put in will give you the results. Now, is it equal in the sense that everyone makes the same amount of money? Nope. But it is equal in the sense that the effort you put in, you get paid for.
No, 100%. Because the more you do, and the more no you get, you just learn how to say this with a little bit different tonality next time. You just learn how to approach this with a little bit different tonality. Or maybe I shouldn't press that hard that time, right? So the only way to get better at sell is to sell more. And when it's funny you say that, because when I hire, I used to hire for experience, and I use to hire for green, and I think there's benefit of both ways. But the important thing that I found is everybody gotta follow your process that works already. Is that is the only time when there's the money will be made easily, because you follow a process, because you're already doing them the same every time. So talk to me about how important it is to have a routine, a process of converting people.
It's key to have predictable income, because if not, you're gonna have the down months and the up months because you're throwing all your baskets and stuff that you don't need to do. So when I teach people, I always teach them to have the biggest pipeline they can get, because you don't have to have as much skill if you have a bigger pipeline. And then you can learn and make mistakes without it costing you too much. So I always focus on getting as many people that you can talk to about your product or service first. Second, I time block. So like in the B2B world, I do all emails and I teach this to my clients. I do my emails from 7:30 to 9:30 in the morning. Emails admin from 9:30 to 11:30. I'm on the call talking to people that can buy from me. I take a lunch, because everyone should take lunch from like 11:30, 12:30. And then from 12:30 to 2, I'm on the phone again. I'm not doing emails. I'm not doing social media. I'm not doing anything. I'm focused on selling the customer. And then after 2, I'm doing admin and emails again. Why do I do that? Because I want to be talking to my clients when they're in a position to buy. So in the B2B world, golden hours are between 9 and 2. So I want to be on the phone talking to them at that point. My manager knows not to put meetings on me. Unless it's an emergency, I will skip meetings. I won't go to meetings because I'm reaching out to clients. But then again, I finished 172% the plan. So they leave me alone and let me do what I want, because I'm making them a bunch of money. When I was in the sales game, that's what happened. So I train people in systems and processes. First and foremost, know what you're going to say going in, make it about the customer. Don't pitch your product or service until you earn the right to. And when I say earn the right, find out what their problem is. What is it that you can do? If you work for a company that has 28 things that they can do, and you're pitching them number one, because that's what some sales trainers said, you should go here first and go up and up, and they want number 28, you're not going to get to 28. You need to find out what it is that's their problem, talk to them about that, get that sold, and then you can always bring the other stuff in. We make it so hard. We try to razzle and dazzle them, when in reality, especially in the B2B world, build a relationship, find the problem. If you're doing stuff with a B2C, a little bit of a different game, as you know. Like, say, if you're doing door to door for decks, you're going to ask them about decks. So you're going to come up, you probably talk to them about their yard gnome, or if they're a Cowboys or Steelers fan, or whatever you see there, because you want to get instant connection. And then you just start talking about, hey, by the way, have you ever thought about doing a deck? Or, hey, I noticed that your roof looked like it was a little bit older. Your window here was cracked. Have you ever thought about doing that? You find a pain point, a way to get in with the customer and build it. BC is a little bit different, but at that point it becomes a numbers game, and you get good at your scripting and what you're saying, so that it now becomes a natural conversation. So it doesn't sound like a script. So it's not like, hello, my name is Joe Graham with company ABCD. It's like, hey, this is Joe Graham with company. You learn the tonality, you need the stuff, you learn the hook. And I think so many times we get so worried about how people will think about us, and in reality, they don't fucking care. They don't. They do not care at all. In reality, you come to someone's door, they're like, "Why are you here?" You got about 10 seconds. And if they're an old dude in their underwear, sorry, you still got to talk to them. That's happened before. But you get about 10 seconds. On the phone, you get 4. If you're a girl calling, you get 6. Now, I know that sounds bad, but it's true because a guy will give a girl 6 seconds, he'll give a guy 4 seconds. That's just stats wise what happens when they pick up the phone. So you better have a hook. So it shouldn't be in your first 4 seconds, "Hi, my name is blah, blah, blah with company X," because you probably get clicked. It should be, "Hey, whatever the customer's name is, hook, this is Joe with company X," because you want to get that hook in the beginning. Like, "Hey, I heard you needed a deck. I'm with ABC Decking Company. Hey, I heard that you were in the mode to go on this trip." Or, "Hey, a buddy of mine told me you could invest $100,000. That's we used to do that stuff for oil and gas." I'd be like, "Hey, man, a buddy of mine just told me you would be willing to invest $100,000 in the right investment. Is that true?" Call their stuff right then and there. Pop. It's a pattern break. And normally, if you ask a question at the beginning, what's going to happen is simply this: human nature, you answer. So if you get a gatekeeper on the phone, a lot of times I'll start with like, "Hey, maybe you can help me. Is this the person that handles this aspect for your business?" And guess what? 9 times out of 10, before they even realize, it's like, "No, it's not that one. It's Kim. That guy's not there." And then sometimes you hear them catch themselves like, "Oh, I'm not supposed. You didn't tell me. It's all good. Thank you for helping me. Can you transfer me to that person?" It's always about if you ask first, especially if you're talking to a lady, if you ask first, and I know I'm on a little tangent here, um, it opens up the door because women like to be asked, men like to be told. I know that sounds funny. If I'm talking to a CEO or whatever, I start saying, "You have this problem. Is this what you're dealing with?" Most of the CEOs I talk to want to make sure their company's productivity is here, they're enhanced, whatever. Like I'm hitting. If it's a lady, I'm like, "Would this make sense to you?" So you have to know your audience too.
Yeah, so that's that's crazy that you say that. You have to know your audience, know who you're selling
Mhm.
to, because I believe that people buy. You can offer a lot of things, but people buy because of one thing. And what I found in my world is everybody it is different, and I don't like playing the guessing game. So that's one question I always ask is, "Hey, what are the few things that are important to you when it's come time?" Because I deal with warm lead, they need a deck out. The needs already
Yep.
established, right? It's the marketing on point, leads already. There's already a need there, so they're buying. Now I have to beat
They're
out
just
like,
picky. Yep.
yep. Now I have to beat out like these 3, 4 people. So I would just ask them, "Hey, what are the few things that are important to you when it comes time to choosing a deck contractor that's gonna come here and do your deck?"
Hmm.
Because everybody's different. Some people, you're gonna get some fucking surface answer is integrity, price, quality, communication. So I would go a little deeper. So what about communication that are important to
Yep.
you?
Yep.
Can you list out a few things for me? And then they would like, "Well, this and that, this and that." So I would even go deeper. "Oh, so had you had any bad experience or good experience in the past dealing with a contractor?" So
Hmm.
that can of worm open, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
then we can tie them down to that pain because now they don't want that anymore. They want a good experience.
Hmm.
Okay, so I just be writing stuff down. And then I would go, "Okay, now let's move on to integrity. What about integrity that's important to you? What about
Hmm.
pricing that's important to you? How much are you so by this time already, I'm already their friend because wow,
Yep.
no,
Yep.
nobody has ever asked me this question before. He actually care about me. I'm not even talking about the deck yet. I'm just
You don't
talking,
need to. No.
you know, I'm just figuring out what they're experiencing, past, present, and future. Well, what have you done in the past? What are you doing now? Why now? Why here? Why now? Why do you call me here? And what is your
Hmm.
desired outcome? And then as soon as you find the why already, we can tie the why to the result. and sell them. Sometimes I sell on time. Sometimes I sell on payment. Sometimes I sell on the products. It's just what, like some guy, they they specifically want it exactly this way. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna try to pitch you nothing else. Here's how much the price is. And those are the engineer type. So is the sales easy? It's
Yeah.
technical. If you sell to woman, you gotta sell the design, right? So that's
Mhm.
everybody is different, but you don't know if you don't ask,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. That's the key right there, especially in the warm market that you mentioned. You literally just had them tell you what they wanted and then sold them what they said, which is what I talked about in the beginning. What's their problem? When you come in to do the deck, you're like, oh, what are you looking for in it? You didn't come in and try to pitch them anything. You just came in and started talking to them about their needs, their wants, and they gave them to you. So guess what? Being the smart salesperson, you just said, oh, okay, so you said you wanted this and you want that, cool. And all. So just so you know, if you want this, like that guy that special way, it's a little bit of a different design. I can 100% do it for you. It's X. And they've already sold themselves because, like you
Yep,
said, likability, trust, and you listen. So they felt seen, heard, and understood. And now it's just, is the value of what you're giving them worth the cost? And then you
right.
found ways. You're like, I can do payment plans if you need me to do that. I can do this. Like you gave them solutions. No, I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah. So this is the when I got to construction sales, I didn't think it was gonna be this like unorganized. The whole industry is living
Hmm.
in 20 years ago, probably the same. Like some guys still do paper contract. Some guys still, walk around and have a stack of contract on them. It's never been industrialized yet,
Hmm.
so what I found is when I coach contractor about selling is they go into the tell sell. Hey, we the best. We're 25 year in the game. We use the best product. I'm like, everybody use the best product. I mean, who would want their clients to have shit product?
Yep. Yep.
Like, so they saying the same thing, they're doing the same
Mhm.
thing, and they go into the homeowner home and expect to sell at the highest price, because they do quality work, right? But you don't do anything to differentiate yourself. Everybody showed them the same pictures. It's the same picture of a roof. It's the same picture of a deck. I mean, they see hundreds of them already, probably, right? But all this time, you don't figure out what they want, when they want it done, what party is coming up. Like, if people say there is a graduation party, you done with me. Like, I'm signing paperwork that day. Or if you have something in the future, a wedding or something, like I already tie the result to an emotional connection. I
Mhm.
already
Yep.
so it's done, it's gone. So when I teach people this, I'm like, we operate on a one core closed environment, but it's not like pushy, because they want, by the time they done talking to it, they want it.
Mhm.
They sign it voluntarily. So speed to lease important for us. Speed to lease important for us, and speed to close important for us because you're competing with people,
Mhm.
right? Right? You're competing with people. So, but if you do this ethically, they never gonna cancel on you because you gave
Yep.
them a solution that only you can execute.
Mhm. Well, but you said something there that made sense. You asked them about them. You made it about them. You didn't talk about being 25 years in the business, being the best materials or stuff. You made your presentation to them about what their needs were. So it makes sense for them to buy from you instead of the guy that said, well, I've been in the industry for 25 years and we use craftsmanship and we do this. They don't care. They care about how's it going to make them feel when their daughter's on that deck for her wedding or the graduation or the big Pumbaa's coming into town and they want them to get to see the backyard with the grill and all the stuff because we're talking about decking. They want the feeling. And once you get that, it's game over because you're going to give them what they want, but you didn't pressure them. You didn't be like, okay, if you buy today, I can do it for this. It was 80,000, but now it's 20. No, you gave them the solution, you gave them the price, you said, here we go. You know, I think that's the other thing in the game that people forget. Price is typically irrelevant
It
if you have the
is.
right value.
It is.
It's just a game. If you have to drop your pants, and anyone in this industry that does sales, you should know what that term means. If you had to drop your pants for every sale, you suck. You need to learn how to actually sell.
Man, that's exactly why people go out of business in the construction industry, because it's like, they can't compete. And for the listener who listening, construction sales still easy if you just do the right shit. But when you get to B2B sale, when you get to like cold calling, when you get to door knocking, when you're selling security service, when you're selling anything that like a little bit cold, like it's a shit show out there. Construction it's literally, if you just pick up the phone when people call you, you will 2x your client base. But if you go to two more times, or for 2 times 2 is 4, now you can sell 4 more times by just changing that two variable. But most people, they're out working on the job itself. Most of them
Mhm.
still swinging the hammer and not hiring for that position to get out of that $20 task to
Yeah.
focus on $100 task or $1,000 task, right? So
Mhm.
then I'm like, well, if you can't afford to do that, when the phone ring, just drop everything, answer the phone, set the fucking appointment, go out there the next day and close the deal. Because when
Yep.
you don't, you know
Someone
who
else will.
does? Me.
Yep.
Because like I'm not from this industry. It's easy. I'm gonna take all I can get right now so I can build a business that worth having. Right. So I got a lot of deck builder in my town. I was talking to a supplier yesterday. He's like, "You killing it, man. You're killing it." Like all the other deck builder, they think you stealing job. That is not what happened at all. It's just this is the first time they've seen somebody go into the industry and execute it on client experience, speed to
Hmm.
leads, speed to service. I don't give a fuck about any other people what they're doing. I'm gonna
Right.
serve my client
Hmm.
and give them a good experience and make sure they don't forget about me so they can keep saying my names. And when you can
Yep.
do that, everybody else is second rate to you because you know what the client want, right?
100%. You're building your brand. You're doing something that's setting you apart in the market. That there's a bunch of deck builders, and they're saying that because they're not competing well with you, which is good. That's good news. If I'm a business owner out here that's saying you're stealing it, you know you're not stealing it. You're bringing so much value that your competition's afraid of you, which is awesome. That means you're dominating the market. The reason you're dominating the market is because you're doing a customer first focus instead of a business first focus, and you're not too caught up in I've been in business 25 years. No, you're asking something. What do you want in your deck? Wow, which sounds more appealing? Anyone listening on any type of sale, talking about your business or customer, what do you want? If you do the customer, what do you want? You'll make a bunch of money. If you do talk about your business, you'll go find a new job to go talk about someone else's business, someone else's business, someone else's business, and then say sales is not for you because you're not listening to the customer. You're just trying to pitch people.
Yeah, that's so true. I teach my sales guy how to do that, how to talk about our business without talking about it, because
Mhm.
everybody bring a computer and do a live design, and they have their production schedule pull up, the calendar pull up with because we busy, and hey, you know, let's swipe it up here, you know, they see all these job over here. Yeah, we can slot you in right here, Didn't you say you have a graduation party? Like, oh man, look like there's one slot right here. But I'm gonna let you decide. It's
Mhm.
probably gonna be gone. I'm telling the truth, it probably will after I leave
Yeah,
that appointment and go to the next one.
you're going to close it there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So most of the time, people was like, okay, let's do it. Like I want it done that day. So
yeah. Hmm.
we put the asterisk mark. This must be done 2 weeks before that day.
Hmm.
So now they're like, oh my God, this guy keep his word. I'm gonna give him all the referrals
Yep.
I'm gonna go onto my Facebook neighborhood market, Facebook group in my
Mhm.
neighbor. I'm gonna go on my next door. Oh, he sent me a handwritten note after the deal closed. He sent
Mhm.
me a gift before he start my job. He sent me a gift after he complete my job. He sent me a
Mhm.
handwritten note for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
There was one neighborhood that we did. There are 6 houses there. We did 4 houses. 6 houses in the circle in Lake How we did 4 houses. There was one
Nice.
neighborhood we did 10 houses. Because I say this in my mastermind, but you have to learn how to make at least shit 5 ways.
Mhm.
Otherwise, like our client acquisition cost is under 10%, and that's including commission. So my marketing costs are under 3% because we know how to. I want everybody to know about us, and I want a big pipeline, but I want a big pipeline with little money as possible. And
Mhm.
the only way to do that is have your client be your advocates.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the game, especially in what you do. Because with you doing that and building the value and building everything with it, you win. That's an easy win at that point.
Yeah, and then people don't believe me, man. When I tell them this, I'm like, "Oh man, it's not that easy. You got to track all this stuff. You got to track how much money you make on Google Ad." I'm like, Google Ad and SEO is a mean to an end. And what I means by that is it's a mean to get client, but an end is to build my own economy with those
Mhm.
clients.
Yep.
I'm gonna get into their community, which is the neighborhood. I'm gonna get into their friends and family, which is who I don't.
Mhm.
I'm not much of a complex guy. The way I think about, how marketer always say, uh, building your ideal clientele. Right? What's that mean? To me, it's just okay. Who's doctor hang out with? Oh, doctors. Who does nurses hang out with? Nurses. Who's a sales guy hang out with? Sales guy. Who's a business owner hang out? Business owner. So if you have those type of people and you want to serve them, just build a relationship with them. And what is the easiest way to build a relationship? We we utilize law of reciprocity. You do something nice for them, send them a nice thing, send them a handwritten thank you note, send them a gift, $30 gift, whatever, without asking anything or referral or anything. We could do that later when we're making up deposit. And
Yep.
now what do? They feel obligated to do
Mhm.
something nice for you. And when that guy what can I do for that guy that's nice to him? Oh, I talk about him. Oh, who need a deck? Who did you use to build a deck? Who would you recommend? Deck bro, deck bro, deck bro. So they do it voluntarily without me calling and bugging them because now they're obligated to do something for me. And then law social proof. Well, this guy had been mentioned too many times, and he happened to send a whiskey set, and there's a party on his deck, and everybody drinking whiskey. They're like, "Who gave you that nice whiskey set?" Oh, deck bro. Oh man, maybe I need a deck too. So now they want to be a
Mhm.
part of an amazing experience. So you have two law persuasion
Yep.
working for you by just doing something nice for people, by just sending out a gift, by doing a one piece of direct mail without taking your time to manually do it. That is that is branding, and that is marketing, because Google ad is to Facebook ad, and I mean they're effective, but it's a mean to an end to me.
No, I love that. But in thinking about it, like you said, you send them the whiskey, right? And they're on the deck. So all of a sudden they're drinking whiskey. They're showing off their new deck because when someone gets something new, they want to show it off to their buddies. Women are the same way, you know. So we got, oh, you like my deck? It's great. Oh, cool. And the whiskey, like, wait a minute, the guy that you built this deck sent you the whiskey? Yeah. And now they're like, I like the deck. They like the whiskey. Like you said, that's a double whammy right there. And they're
Yeah,
like, well, maybe I need to get a deck. Or their wife would be like, how come she gets a deck and I don't get a deck? And then you play that game too.
yeah, man. That's exactly what happened, bro. Like, and I was highly encouraged people to I call it tea knocking, but a lot of people, give all these fancy name or whatever. Let's go talk to the neighbors. Hey, we're gonna be in the neighborhood. If our guy are being funny or anything, would you care to help me out and give me a call? Or maybe if we being trashy or if any debris get into your yard, would you care to give me a call? By the way, why I'm here? Why am I go give you a free inspection on your deck? This on
Mhm.
me, you know. You just quick 5 minute, let me pop back here real quick. Oh, my wife is not home. It's okay, man. I'm just gonna go look real quick and just to see what you want to do. Maybe you need a refresher, and I can refer you to one of my buddy. But don't worry about it. I'm already here. But now you just helping people,
Mhm.
So it's like and I tell my sales guy right now, this is the juice. You want more money? You want easy money later? Don't forget about your client.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Oh man, hey, if you had one advice right now for somebody green that just get into sales, what would that be?
Yeah. Simply, well, it would be two things. One, get as many reps as possible, whether you're door knocking or making phone calls, and then find a mentor or someone that's doing it and ask them questions. Whether or not you hire a coach doesn't really matter at that point. Find someone that can train you or that's doing it correctly, that knows the process, so that you can keep tweaking what you're doing each and every time.
Mm, House. How many mentor have you have throughout the years?
Oh, mentors probably like 4 or 5. And then I've hired a couple coaches as well along the way. Um, like the one that pops out in my head the most was I was doing the oil and gas investment sales. Remember, I told you I closed that guy at the 250. Well, in the beginning, I could get them on the phone, but I couldn't close them. But there was a guy there that was just closing deal after deal. So I'm like, bro, let's work together. I'll set the appointment. And I had to humble myself because I would get 10% of the deal, right? I gave him 7. He would close it, but I got to hear how he would close it. I only got 3 off those deals, but we sold almost $3 million together just in that. So it was worth the investment from me to do. Would I have rather gotten all the money? Yes, but I wanted to learn. So sometimes you have to humble yourself, get around the right person, and then put some skin in the game for them. Like that was a way of hiring without paying out of pocket. I gave them part of the commission. That's just how that structure was set up. But most of the time people are willing to help as long as you're not needy, crybabying, and whiny. If you're like genuinely doing it, but if they tell you to do something and you don't do it, you just screwed yourself. They're not going to help you again. If you ask someone and they're successful at what you're trying to sell, don't argue with them or say, well, wouldn't it work better this way? Bro, you're green. You're learning. You can teach people later on once you've actually gotten there. Because I've had that happen before too. Guys ask me for help and I start to tell them, like, well, what about this? And I'm like, did you just ask me for help on what I'm doing or are you trying to teach me? Because I didn't ask you. Not trying
Yeah,
to be mean, but like you get those rookie people and they're like, oh, but I think it would be better this way. You're not there yet, bro. Go
yeah,
make your money, go make your sales, learn. It's like an apprenticeship back in the day. You learn, you grow, you get better. Or if you hire a coach can help you as well because they can shrink time for you. They can get a system and process in place that will help you develop what you need done so that you can make money faster. It just depends on how you want to invest.
yeah. That's funny you say that because I got a few sales rep, but that before that taught me a lot of how to onboard sales guy now, Oh, I know everything. Oh, you just say this and they'll buy. Oh, you just do this and buy. I'm like, no, that's not that simple, man. Like it's not that simple. I don't think you're ready yet. Oh yeah, just let me go. And then every time I do that, they fall flat on their face because there's
Mhm.
no adequate training or what I love is 30 years in the game sales guy. I'm like, well, why are you jumping in between company? If you in 30 years in the game and you nowhere yet, that means something wrong.
Yep, 100%.
So it's so hard to teach this guy. Like I was interviewing one candidate and I was hey, this is how we operate. We're one cold close organization, so I expect you to ask for the business.
Mhm.
When you're at that point. Well, I just don't think like he's a great candidate. Everything checks out, highly influential. The disc profile check out. Well, I just don't think that that's fair to the client. I'm like, what? So I mean, already you telling me that you're not gonna do what I require you to do on this position. So why should I hire you?
You should. You should. Like if it was his own business and he wants to come back, that's cool. It's his own business. It's way different than he's doing it for you, for your business, you know?
And the funny thing is the guy just shut down his business. I'm like, wonder why that is. But
Yeah, because if you don't have money coming into your business, you have a hobby.
right. But hey, man, it's so good chatting with you, man. You know, Joe, he know his stuff, guy. Listen to what he tell you today, and it's sales. I think. Well, with my industry, this one, no, it's not. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same across industry. There's maybe different verbiage, different jargon that you have to learn. But basically, sales is universal, just like marketing, just like branding. All the front end stuff, not the production itself, all the front end stuff is the same across industry. So the reason why I brought him here today is I want someone outside, but he started from construction, so he actually know
Mhm.
about every sales. You know, that's one of the facts that I found out today. So I want to brought somebody outside from the industry and see how they operate versus what we experience in the industry right now, which is a total shit show. Hey man, for that I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you having me on, and it's been a fun talk.
You know I'm a hustler, hustler. You know I'm a hustler, hustler.